Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today we're diving deep into something I know a lot of us think about, what our homes are really worth.
Yeah, especially here in South Florida. Things can change so fast.
That's why I'm so excited to talk about the approach of Antonio Ortega, LLC. He's a real estate expert with a unique way of looking at this whole home value thing.
It's interesting how many people just rely on those quick estimates you see online or just a basic comparative market analysis or CMA. I mean,
Okay.
they can be helpful,
Yeah,
but they don't really tell the whole story, do they?
you're so right. It's like trying to understand your finances by just looking at your bank balance once. You need way more context than that.
Exactly. That's where Antonio Ortega LLC comes in with these monthly reports. They really go way beyond that basic snapshot. They're looking at your equity, your loan balance, even potential refinancing
Okay,
options.
I'm already interested.
It's about getting a clearer picture of your property's potential over time, not just like what it's worth right now.
So what exactly makes these reports so different from the standard CMA?
Well, think of a CMA as a quick temperature check. Like it tells you what similar homes have recently sold for in your area. But Antonio Ortega LLC's reports, they're more like a full health assessment.
Huh.
They give you a much deeper personalized look at your situation, things that a CMA just can't provide.
So it's like having a financial advisor just for your home, like someone who's always watching your equity and looking for ways to improve your financial standing.
Exactly. And that's crucial in a market like South Florida, especially in markets like Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Weston. They're constantly changing.
I see what you mean.
Having these monthly updates helps you stay ahead of the game. Makes those tough decisions a little easier, too.
Makes sense. It's like having an insider's perspective on the market.
And here's the best part. Antonio Ortega LLC offers these reports totally free of charge.
Wait, free?
He believes in empowering homeowners, and knowledge is power when it comes to real estate.
Free monthly reports. That's incredible. How can our listeners get these?
Oh, it's super easy. Just visit cmabneedybyemail.com and sign up. You'll start receiving those comprehensive reports right in your inbox, and you can unsubscribe at any time.
Wow, that's a fantastic resource. So we've talked about how these reports go deeper than a typical CMA, but let's take a step back for a second. What exactly is equity, and why is it so important for homeowners to understand?
Okay, so equity is basically the part of your home you actually own.
Okay.
So let's say you bought a house for $400,000 and you've paid off $150,000 of your mortgage. If your home is now worth $500,000, you have $300,000 in equity.
Wow.
You've got the $150,000 you paid down plus $150,000 from your home appreciating in value.
So you're building wealth just by owning your home. The more equity you have, the more financial freedom you have too, right?
You got it. And those rising home values we see in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Weston, they're a big part of that. Your equity can really grow in a hot market like the one we're in now.
That is exciting.
hmm
But knowing your equity is growing is one thing. How can homeowners actually use that equity to their advantage?
Well, there are a bunch of ways. You can use it as collateral to get a loan, maybe for home improvements or even investing in another property. Or you could tap into that equity through a cash out refinance and actually get some of that money back.
Interesting. We'll have to get back to that later.
Definitely. But the important thing to remember is that understanding your equity is key to making smart decisions about your home and your overall financial strategy.
For sure.
And those monthly reports we talked about, well, they're an amazing tool to track your equity and see those opportunities as they come up.
This is all great information. But for homeowners who might be a little overwhelmed by all this, where's a good place to start?
Honestly, connecting with a knowledgeable real estate professional can make all the difference. Someone who can answer your questions and walk you through the process step by step.
Gotcha.
And that brings us back to Antonio Ortega LLC. He's all about giving homeowners the knowledge and support they need to navigate the market with confidence.
All right, we've talked about those free reports and his focus on educating homeowners, but I think there was something special he does for people looking to sell their homes.
You're right. He has a fantastic offer for sellers that can really help save them money. But before we jump into that, I want to highlight his commitment to his clients.
Okay.
He goes above and beyond to make sure they feel confident and informed every step of the way.
That's so important, especially in such a fast-paced market like South Florida. Speaking of which, what areas does Antonio Ortega LLC actually work in?
He's got a ton of experience in Broward and parts of Miami-Dade County. So Davie, Sunrise, Miramar, all those surrounding areas, he's got you covered.
That local knowledge is so valuable. It's not just about the numbers. It's about the specific needs of people buying and selling in South Florida.
You said it. And Antonio Ortega LLC really gets that. He's a true expert in the field, and he loves helping people reach their real estate goals.
Well, before we head over to part two, tell us a bit more about that special offer for sellers.
Absolutely. You can find all the details at AntonioOrtigalLLC.com, but essentially he contributes 10% of his fee back to help you cover closing costs.
Wow.
That can add up to some serious savings, especially in today's market.
That is a pretty incredible deal. I'm going to have to check out his website for more information.
Yeah, you should. And while you're there, check out his other resources too. He's got tons of information on buying, selling, investing, you name it.
Perfect. Now, before we jump to part two, here's something for our listeners to think about. What are your financial goals for your home? And how can you use the info we've talked about to make those goals happen?
Yeah, we'll be back in part two with even more strategies and answers to those burning questions.
See you there.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're talking about getting the most out of your home, especially here in South Florida.
I'm really excited to learn more about those monthly market reports from Antonio Ortega, LLC. What exactly can homeowners expect to find in those?
They're really like a personalized financial checkup for your home. Tailored to your specific property and what's happening in the market right now, you'll see your estimated home value based on what's actually selling in your neighborhood.
So it's not just some generic estimate then?
Not at all. It's super localized, focused on South Florida, Davie, Sunrise, Miramar, anywhere in Broward or Miami-Dade counties, you're getting insights that are relevant to you.
That makes a lot of sense. South Florida is unique. Things change so quickly. Having that local expertise is key.
Exactly. And these reports track all those trends over time. So you see how your property's value is doing, not just a one-time snapshot.
That's got to be so helpful when you're trying to decide if you should sell or refinance.
You got it. But there's even more. These reports actually break down your finances in detail. You'll see your estimated loan balance that helps you understand your equity. You'll also see potential refinancing options based on current interest rates and your existing mortgage.
Now we're talking. This is the kind of stuff that empowers homeowners to take control.
Exactly. And get this, they even highlight potential savings you could get by refinancing. Maybe a lower monthly payment or a chance to pay off your mortgage faster. You can really explore different scenarios and figure out what works best for you.
I can see how that would take a lot of the stress out of those big decisions.
It's all about having that personal guide to navigate homeownership, and that's where someone like Antonio Ortega LLC really makes a difference.
We've already talked about the free reports and his offer for sellers, but what else sets him apart from other real estate agents?
He is truly committed to educating and empowering homeowners. It's about making sure people understand their options and make the decisions that are right for them.
That's so important,
Yeah.
especially in real estate where there's so much jargon and complicated stuff. Having an agent you trust can make all the difference.
Couldn't agree more. And his local knowledge is invaluable. He really knows South Florida understands those little nuances in each neighborhood and the bigger trends that are shaping the area.
Now that we've talked about all these great resources, I'm curious, what are some of the mistakes people make when they're trying to figure out their home's value?
One of the biggest is relying on those quick online valuation tools. They're fun to play with, but they often just aren't accurate enough for important decisions.
You can't base a big financial move on that.
Definitely not. They might not have the latest sales data, and they don't always factor in those unique things about your property that can really impact its value.
So those online estimates should just be a starting point then.
Exactly. And what about those websites and apps for sale by owner? They can show you what other homeowners are asking for their properties, but that asking price isn't always what the market's actually willing to pay.
So ultimately it comes down to having a real expert in your corner.
You got it. Someone like Antonio Ortega, LLC, can give you that in-depth, personalized guidance you just won't get from an algorithm or a website.
This has been really helpful. What's coming up in part 3?
We're going to dive into specific strategies you can use to maximize your home's value, whether you're thinking about selling, refinancing, or just building long-term wealth through homeownership.
Can't wait. We're back for the final part of our deep dive. We've been talking about getting the most out of your home, really understanding its value.
Yeah, and all the resources that are out there to help you make those smart decisions.
We've talked about equity, those monthly reports from Antonio Ortega, LLC, and even busted some myths about figuring out what your house is worth.
Now it's time to put it all together. What are some things homeowners can actually do to reach their goals?
Exactly. Let's say I'm a homeowner here in South Florida. I've been checking out those monthly reports, watching my equity grow. I started to see the trends in my area, maybe even thinking about refinancing. What's a good next step?
Well, first, it's really important to know what you're aiming for. What are your goals with your home?
Right.
Do you want to sell in the next couple of years? Maybe move up to a bigger place.
Yeah.
Or maybe tap into your equity for some renovations. Or even invest. Or maybe you just want to build wealth over time through owning your home.
I think a lot of people might not realize they need to figure that out first.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, but having those goals in mind can make a big difference in your financial planning.
So once you've got your goals figured out, how can those monthly reports actually help you make decisions?
Okay, let's say your goal is to sell your home in the next year or two. Those reports can help you figure out the perfect time to list it. You see the market trends, understand what similar homes are going for, and that helps you price your home right to get the most out of it.
Makes sense. Timing can be everything in real estate. What about refinancing?
They can be super helpful for that too. You can compare different loans, look at interest rates, see how refinancing would change your monthly payment, maybe even help you pay off the mortgage faster. Some people might even find they can pull out some cash from their equity.
Wow. So I could use that for renovations, paying off debt, maybe even investing?
You got it. It's all about taking control, not feeling like you're just along for the ride.
For sure. And, it's great to have someone like Antonio Ortega LLC there
Yeah.
to guide you through it all. Someone who can explain all the data in those reports and help you make a plan that actually works for you.
Absolutely. He's more than just an agent. He's a real advisor, someone who's invested in your success.
And let's not forget about that offer for sellers. It's not just about info and market trends. He's actually helping people save money too.
Yeah, that 10% contribution toward closing costs can make a huge difference. It shows he's really committed to making sure his clients get the best possible outcome.
So if our listeners are ready to take action, what's the best way to connect with Antonio Ortega LLC?
You can head over to his website, antonioortegallc.com. You'll find all the information you need about his services and how he can help. You can even schedule a consultation to talk about your specific situation.
Awesome. We'll be sure to share that link in the show notes. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to real estate.
Couldn't agree more.
By understanding your options, using the tools that are out there, and finding an expert you trust, you can really unlock the potential of your home and achieve your financial goals. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research, and take charge of your homeownership journey. Thanks for joining us.